Season 3 of Lego Masters is here. I spoke with Brick Masters Amy Corbett and Jamie Berard about the twists this season and what they're looking for in each build. We have season 3 upon us, and now it looks like we've got a new team added to the mix.
I know.
Shocking.
What can you tell me about this twist?
Well, we told you there was going to be surprises this season, didn't we? And I think that is the biggest surprise we could have thrown at anyone. Yeah. Not only the viewers at home, but also the teams. Mm-hmm. They were absolutely gobsmacked when we brought this new team in.
But it's a team that many of them recognize because these are builders that are known in the fan community. And so you could tell the people in the room that knew them and just their faces dropped because at this stage of the competition, they're hoping that we're starting to, lose some teams to get a little closer to the finish. But now they're starting to question their own hierarchy of where are they at in this competition when such a strong team comes in.
But I think what's really exciting about it is bringing in a new team that everyone knows is good. The next episode, everyone has to up their game. Like they can't kind of rest being like, we know this team's good at this. We know this team's good at this. Now they're like, what's this new team good at? Maybe they're good at everything. And it kind of pushes the level of every team up.
But there is something that some people may not notice is that the new team sometimes has a disadvantage as well because the other teams have all worked with each other and they've gone through a couple of these challenges already. So as much as they're feeling the weight of this new experience, I think you're going to be it's very interesting to see how it develops and where the new team shows off its strengths and where they're for the first time having to face some of these challenges that the others are already past.
What else can we expect in season 3?
Well, you've seen some pretty good trailers so far. I mean, we definitely have some fun stuff on the way. We've got Jeff Gordon coming on, driving around the studio, trashing the place with Will.
We've got Wrecking Balls. That is wild. We have a studio full of dogs.
Oh,
our favorite episode, probably. Yeah. It will melt your heart just seeing the dogs, but then seeing the builders try to recreate these dogs is such a fun episode.
Yeah, and we still have some twists that you haven't seen in the previews that we don't want to fully share, but just to look forward to this season being a whole season of firsts, things that we haven't done anywhere else in the world. This is a pretty special season.
Our Treehouse episode that's airing this week, where we take the outdoors, indoors, and our teams actually have to build around real life trees that have no bricks in them. There's no connection point. We've given them nothing to start with. Yeah. So they got to work out how to attach something to a living tree. And on top of that, they got to make super cool tree houses, which is also a little bit tough on the creativity side. Yeah.
You guys both work in the world of Lego and kind of stepped into the world of television. Do you have any advice for people who might be interested in a career in Legos?
Yeah, I recommend everybody should do what we're doing.
Oh boy.
The classic path. I mean, I think my biggest tip that I usually give to people is creativity is just such a core skill of building with Lego bricks and designing with Lego bricks. And it's something people don't realize you actually have to train. You have to practice so you can get better. So whether it's building, giving yourself different briefs and challenges, or actually just drawing, sketching, writing poetry, just anything that helps you be creative and feed your creativity just adds so much value and helps you grow as a creative. And that's really important.
But I think if you've ever heard of like these improv comedians, they have this theory of yes and.
Yeah.
And I think that is another good headspace to be in. If you can always view everything as a positive, that is a challenge that you'll figure out. Like, yes, let's do this. And it's going to be awesome. Like, we're going to, take on the world and do something we never thought was possible. I think that's a lot of what we do is it's not following the building instructions. It's actually having to try something that you never thought was possible, like a rodeo bull. No one ever thought of making a Lego model that had to sit on a rodeo bull and make it to the end. You have to have a good mindset to just embrace that as this is awesome, but also maybe recognize everyone else in the room is in the same spot. Nobody's an expert at doing what people are doing. So as long as you have that optimism and that positive energy that you can just solve anything and you have a good teammate that you're using to their fullest potential, I think that's where people can really make magic.
And I think maybe one last thing, especially for kids, is don't be afraid to fail. Like, you do not need to get things perfect first time. Often by failing, by getting it wrong, by looking at what went wrong and doing it again and trying to make it better, you grow stronger. And I think kids often want to get it perfect first time. So just being comfortable, and as parents allowing kids to be comfortable in failing and learning from that, I think is also super important, because you can see our builders are like, I'm trying this thing out. Is it going to work? Yeah. I don't know. And sometimes Jamie and I are also like, I've never seen that before. I don't know if it's going to work. Someone needs to try it. And then we can learn for next time, is it going to work or not?
Yeah.
Speaking of the rodeo bowl, is there some sort of joy in sort of smashing a build, or is there something sacred that you want to keep it all intact?
I've surprised myself tremendously that I've grown comfortable with this, because
season 1 he was not. Let's say that he was like, I don't think let's change the like 2 minutes, but let's change the challenge. I don't think we should be smashing things. This is not what Lego building is about. People are going to hate it.
I think it's because everyone invests so much effort and time into making things, and they put a bit of themselves in there. And also, just Lego bricks in general are just so valuable to so many people on so many levels. To just then break it apart, it's really a strange space to be in. But I have to say, I've really grown to enjoy it, because it makes it a creative medium that it's like, what's next? Like, it isn't that you now have the thing that you made and you're done. I like the idea of an open-endedness and seeing everything as having new uses. Every brick has a new potential to be your next best model. I really like that thinking.
And I think I'm just so like surprised and delighted by how much people at home just enjoy when the challenge has that element of like, okay, we've got this, we're bringing a wind turbine in, let's see how long it can last, we're going to put weights on it. And I think there is something quite exciting about that when it's done in the right way, in context that adds meaning, that is so entertaining to view at home. And I think that makes me feel a bit more comfortable with smashing things, because I'm like, actually, people are just going to really enjoy this because it's going to be wild and fun and crazy. And it's TV.
Yeah. Also, in this episode that we're discussing, you guys had some fun with your Western wear. Are we going to get to see some more wardrobe excitement?
Yes.
We do.
I enjoy it when they throw something at me like, I don't want to say a pair of chaps is something I ever thought I'd wear, but it is nice when we can get into the whole theming of the episode. So I think you will see down the road that we definitely enjoy some of the theming.
Yeah, I think our wardrobe team really enjoyed kind of the challenge of finding either little hints like my quilted jacket or full-on costumes. And Jamie never says no to a costume. And I think they've learned that now. Jamie never says no to a costume. So they're like, do you want to wear this thing? And he's like, sure. Bring it to my dressing room. I'll put it on.
And that's when Amy's off in my better judgment, where she's like, does that really look good?
Can you sometimes see when a build is going to fail just at presentation?
Yes and no. I think some things do cause concern for us, but we've also been continually surprised along the way. So we have some experience because we've tested some of these builds before, meaning that or the challenges, I should say. We have a challenge team that's trying to do them in the background. And so it gives us a sense of maybe what are the good or bad techniques to make a model survive. But there are also these moments that you can't help but empathize that they're trying something new, but it just looks like there's too many weak points. I think a good example for me was seeing the pig on the rodeo bull. It was a very different way of thinking, trying to go very lightweight, but that meant that they needed to actually lock things in, which is hard to do when you're trying to go very lightweight. So it's kind of, they were torn between two different things, and we tried to give them a sense of our concern, but in the end, sometimes people take that chance and we can be surprised. But unfortunately with that one, I think we also saw that it did need those extra connections to hold on.
Is there something that builders can do that's always going to impress you? What's the key to your approval?
Yeah. I don't think there's a formula. I think that is one of the biggest challenges of Lego Masters, is that every challenge is a little bit different and it takes something different to impress us every single time. I think one thing we do find really important is that the teams listen to us and learn from the critiques and the feedback and take it into their next challenge. I think that is frustrating when you tell teams time and time again, like, please do this thing, and they don't. And just making a model that just looks damn good and gives you that wow effect, I think is always going to win us over in some way.
I have to say, I always like it when people are taking a chance and when they're just trying something that's out of their comfort zone. I think one of the challenges in this competition is that people can sometimes fall back on the things that they know they're good at. So if you know you're good at making castles, you can sometimes work the stories always into making a castle. So I like it when they can just try something that they never thought was possible. And I give them credit for that, even if it doesn't fully work out.
Has anyone ever been injured when these Legos are flying around?
Fortunately, no, but that's by design because I think we have a really good safety team on set that makes sure that if we have any sort of explosives, the fire department's there. We always have paramedics there, but we also structure it so that way everybody's distant. It may not look like it on camera, but they have safety goggles, they have the earmuffs, and we also have plastic guards and things like that that you don't see in the final edit, but we do go, or the team goes through a tremendous effort to make sure everyone's safe.
And we make people keep their shoes on so they do not stand on a Lego brick because...
I mean, is there anything more painful than stepping barefoot?
And there was a moment that we were thinking about me riding the rodeo bull, but luckily that didn't work out.
It was this close.
Amy stepped in.
This close. He was up for it. He was so up for it.
I was.
Do you guys have input when the challenge team is coming up with these challenges?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge process, and you wouldn't believe the number of like fun ideas that are put on the shelf because we can't quite make them work, or the number of absolutely wild ideas that somehow they manage to make into our reality. So there's a huge concept phase before they narrow it down to a kind of rough deck that Jamie and I then see and give input on, because ultimately we're the ones who have to judge on the challenges. We're the ones who have to own them at the end of the day. So we definitely have a lot of input, but thankfully we have a great team who really works through all the fine details and tests things out and tries to fail safe as much as possible the challenges, but we never know what our builders are going to create. They always shock us.
Yeah. And I think we tend to have a longer horizon on some of these things. So we always have more challenges than we could possibly do. And then that's where we can also help think about the mix of challenges to make sure that we're celebrating all different kinds of creativity, because some of our builders are going to be particularly strong with engineering, while others are going to be strong with storytelling or character creation. So we want to make sure we give everybody a chance to shine. And I think that's also where you can have that holistic view and sometimes have that patience to say, maybe we do that challenge next season, because this season it would be nice to balance it with this challenge.
So what happens to these builds when the episode is done and you've got these beautiful creations? Does anyone get to keep it, or are they demolished?
Well, they don't always survive the episode, as we saw in the last one. But sometimes we keep them to put on display somewhere. Definitely the finale builds, you can see have gone on display in Legoland. The winning build from episode 1 actually has gone to the Kennedy Space Center. But more often than not, they do get recycled and put back into the brick pit, because those bricks are precious. And I mean, Lego bricks are meant to be reused and built into different things. So we have also a great team who dismantles the builds as well, because that is a massive task.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I know that. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye-bye.
Thanks.